Hello there. My name is Dr. Evans, and for the better part of 3 decades, I've had the privilege of being a family physician. I've sat with thousands of patients, listening to their stories, celebrating their triumphs, and helping them navigate their health challenges. One of the most common and most serious topics that comes up in my office is cholesterol. Now, let me start with something that might surprise you. High cholesterol is one of the leading drivers of heart disease, stroke, and other devastating health problems in America. It's a silent threat. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it can be working against you inside your body at this very moment. But here's the real shocker. Some of the foods we eat every day, foods we love and associate with comfort and family, are often the biggest culprits. This leads me to a question I often pose to my patients. Are you unknowingly eating foods that are raising your cholesterol? Are the very meals you enjoy putting your heart at risk? In this guide, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're not going to use complicated medical terms or confusing charts. Instead, we're going to have a straightforward, honest conversation, just like we would in my office. We will explore the common foods that can harm your heart health, specifically by raising what we call bad cholesterol. My goal is simple: to empower you with the knowledge you need to make smarter choices and protect the health of your heart for all the years to come. Let's begin. Before we start, a simple chat about cholesterol. Before we can talk about which foods to avoid, it's important to understand what we're even fighting. Think of cholesterol not as a villain, but as a worker in your body. Your body actually needs a certain amount of this waxy substance to do important jobs, like building healthy cells, making hormones, and helping you digest food. Your liver produces all the cholesterol you need. The problem starts when we get too much of it from our diet. To make it really simple, imagine your blood vessels are like highways. For everything to run smoothly, traffic needs to flow freely. Now, let's talk about the 2 main types of cholesterol, which you may have heard of as LDL and HDL. LDL, low-density lipoprotein, the lousy cholesterol. Think of LDL as careless delivery trucks. Their job is to carry cholesterol from your liver out to the rest of your body. But when you have too many of these LDL trucks on the road, they start dropping their packages, cholesterol, along the sides of your highway-like arteries. Over time, these dropped packages pile up and mix with other substances to form a thick, hard deposit called plaque. This plaque narrows the highways, creating traffic jams and making it harder for blood to get through to your heart and brain. This is what leads to heart attacks and strokes. So, L is for lousy. We want this number to be low. HDL, high-density lipoprotein, the helpful cholesterol. Now, think of HDL as the cleanup crew. These are the heroic workers who drive along your highways, pick up the excess cholesterol dropped by the LDL trucks, and carry it back to the liver to be disposed of. They keep the highways clear and prevent dangerous blockages. So, H is for helpful. We want this number to be high. So, our goal with a heart-healthy diet is twofold: lower the lousy LDL and raise the helpful HDL. The foods we're about to discuss are notorious for doing the exact opposite. They flood your system with the building blocks for LDL and can even hinder the work of your helpful HDL. Now that we have our foundation, let's look at the specific culprits you'll find in many American kitchens and restaurants. The main offenders, foods that raise cholesterol you should avoid. 1. The world of fried foods. There's something undeniably satisfying about the crispy, golden brown crunch of a fried food. Whether it's a basket of French fries, a piece of southern fried chicken, or a fresh morning donut, these foods are deeply woven into our culture of comfort and convenience. But as your doctor, I must tell you that this is one of the most dangerous categories of food for your heart health. Why they raise cholesterol? The problem with fried foods is a 1-2 punch of unhealthy fats. First, the very act of deep frying involves submerging food in hot oil. Often, restaurants and fast food chains use inexpensive oils like vegetable shortening, palm oil, or other blended vegetable oils that are high in saturated fats. When you eat saturated fats, you are essentially sending a direct order to your liver to produce more of those lousy LDL cholesterol trucks. Second, and even more sinister, is the creation of trans fats. When liquid oils are heated to high temperatures over and over again, as is common in restaurant deep fryers, Their chemical structure can change, creating trans fats. Man-made trans fats are the absolute worst type of fat for your body. Not only do they command your liver to ramp up LDL production, but they also actively lower your helpful HDL cleanup crew. It's like hiring more troublemakers and firing the security guards at the same time. Common examples to watch for. This list is long and familiar to all of us. French fries and onion rings. Fried chicken and chicken nuggets. Donuts, churros, and other fried pastries. Corn dogs and mozzarella sticks. Breaded fish fillets from fast food restaurants. A doctor's recommendation. I know that giving up that satisfying crunch can be tough. But thankfully, we live in an age of amazing kitchen technology. The goal isn't to eat bland, boring food, it's to cook smarter. Embrace your oven. You can get a wonderful fried texture by baking. Toss potato wedges or chicken pieces in a small amount of olive oil, season them generously with your favorite herbs and spices, and bake them at a high temperature, around 400 to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, until they're golden and crispy. Invest in an air fryer. This is one of the best modern inventions for heart-healthy cooking. An air fryer circulates super hot air to cook food, giving it a remarkably crispy, fried finish with just a tiny fraction of the oil. It's a game changer for things like potatoes, vegetables, and even chicken wings. Pan-searing and grilling. For things like fish or chicken, a good sear in a hot pan with a little bit of healthy oil or a few minutes on the grill can provide a delicious, brown crust without the need for deep frying. The takeaway is this: you can still have delicious, satisfying food. You just have to change the cooking method from a deep fryer to a healthier alternative. 2. The convenience trap of processed foods. In our busy lives, processed foods can feel like a lifesaver. A quick hot dog for lunch, a few slices of deli meat for a sandwich, a bag of chips for a snack. They are easy and they are everywhere. But this convenience comes at a steep price for your heart. Why they raise cholesterol? Processed means that a food has been altered from its natural state. This often involves adding significant amounts of ingredients that are terrible for your cholesterol and overall health. Saturated fats. Processed meats like bacon, sausage, salami, and hot dogs are packed with saturated fat. To make them, manufacturers often use the fattiest cuts of meat because fat adds flavor and moisture. Sodium. Salt. While sodium doesn't directly raise your cholesterol, it's a major contributor to high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a close partner in crime with high cholesterol. It damages the walls of your arteries, your highways, making it even easier for the plaque from LDL cholesterol to stick and build up. Processed foods, from canned soups to frozen dinners, are notoriously loaded with salt as a preservative and flavor enhancer. Hidden trans fats. Many packaged snacks, cookies, crackers, and microwave popcorn were traditionally made with partially hydrogenated oils to extend their shelf life. As we discussed, these are a source of deadly trans fats. While many manufacturers have been forced to remove them, you still need to be a detective when reading labels. Common examples to watch for. Processed meats, bacon, sausages, hot dogs, bologna, salami, pepperoni. Packaged snacks, potato chips, corn chips, buttery crackers, packaged cookies and cakes. Convenience meals, frozen pizzas, frozen dinners, canned pasta dishes, instant ramen noodles. A doctor's recommendation. The key here is to move towards whole, single-ingredient foods. Think of it as eating foods that don't need an ingredient list. Read the label. This is your most powerful tool. When you pick up a packaged food, look at the nutrition facts panel. Pay close attention to the amount of saturated fat and trans fat. Aim for as close to zero trans fat as possible. Also, check the sodium content. A good rule of thumb is to look for foods with less than 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. Choose fresh over packaged. Instead of buying packaged deli meat, buy a fresh turkey or chicken breast from the store, roast it at home, and slice it yourself for sandwiches. It tastes better and you have complete control over the salt. Make your own snacks. A handful of unsalted nuts, a piece of fruit, or some vegetable sticks with hummus are far better choices than a bag of chips. Cooking at home from fresh ingredients is the single best way to escape the processed food trap and take back control of your health. 3. The heavy burden of red meat. A juicy steak on the grill or a hearty beef burger is an American classic. For many people, a meal just doesn't feel complete without red meat. While it's a great source of protein, iron, and vitamin B12, frequent consumption of red meat, especially fatty cuts, can be a major contributor to high cholesterol. Why it raises cholesterol? The primary issue with red meat is its high content of saturated fat. This is particularly true for certain cuts. Think about a well-marbled ribeye steak. That marbling is pure saturated fat. When you eat it, you are giving your liver the raw materials it needs to churn out more LDL cholesterol. Research has consistently shown that people who eat a lot of red meat tend to have higher levels of LDL cholesterol and a greater risk of heart disease compared to those who get their protein from other sources. Common examples to watch for. We are talking about meat from mammals. Beef, steaks, especially fatty cuts like ribeye, T-bone, ground beef. Look for the leanest option possible, like 93.7, roasts and ribs. Pork, pork chops, pork ribs, bacon, and sausage. Lamb, lamb chops and roasts. A doctor's recommendation. This isn't about becoming a vegetarian overnight unless you want to. It's about being strategic and mindful of your choices. Think of red meat as a treat, not a staple. Try to limit your red meat consumption to once or twice a week, not once or twice a day. Portion control is key. A healthy serving of meat is about 3 ounces, which is roughly the size of a deck of cards. The giant 16-ounce steaks served at many restaurants are enough for 3 or 4 servings. Go lean. When you do eat red meat, choose the leanest cuts available. Look for loin, or round, in the name, sirloin steak, pork tenderloin, eye of round roast. For ground beef, always choose the lowest fat percentage you can find. Swap it out. Make simple substitutions. Instead of a beef burger, try a turkey burger or a salmon burger. In chilies and pasta sauces, use ground chicken or turkey instead of ground beef. Make fish and chicken your primary protein sources during the week. Plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, and tofu are also fantastic, heart-healthy choices. 4. The deceptive richness of butter. Spreading a thick layer of creamy butter on warm toast or melting it over a pile of pancakes is a simple pleasure. Butter has a flavor and richness that is hard to replicate. Unfortunately, it's also a concentrated source of the very thing we're trying to avoid. Why it raises cholesterol. Butter is made from churning the fat from milk or cream. This means it is almost entirely animal fat, and that animal fat is predominantly saturated fat. A single tablespoon of butter can contain over 7 grams of saturated fat, which is about a third of the recommended daily limit for someone on a heart-healthy diet. Using it generously in cooking, baking, and as a spread can quickly add up and significantly impact your LDL cholesterol levels. Common examples to watch for. Butter, used as a spread on bread, bagels, and vegetables. Cream cheese and sour cream. These full-fat dairy products are also high in saturated fat. Heavy cream, often used in rich sauces, soups, and desserts. Many baked goods, croissants, biscuits, and many cakes and cookies rely on large amounts of butter for their texture and flavor. A doctor's recommendation. This is another area where smart swaps can make a huge difference without sacrificing flavor entirely. For spreading, instead of butter on your toast, try mashed avocado, which is full of healthy monounsaturated fats. A natural, no sugar-added nut butter, like almond or peanut butter, is another great option. A light drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on bread, Italian style, is also delicious and heart-healthy. For cooking, when you're sautéing vegetables or cooking on the stovetop, use a healthy plant-based oil like olive oil or avocado oil instead of butter. For baking, this can be trickier, but there are many recipes that successfully substitute butter with things like applesauce, mashed bananas, or Greek yogurt to reduce the fat content while maintaining moisture. 5. The hidden danger of hydrogenated oils, trans fats. This is arguably the most important ingredient to become an expert at spotting and avoiding. While fried foods can create trans fats, they are also deliberately added to processed foods in the form of partially hydrogenated oils. Why they raise cholesterol. To understand this, let's do a quick science lesson. Natural vegetable oils are liquid at room temperature. Food manufacturers wanted a cheap, solid fat, like butter, that wouldn't spoil quickly. So, they developed a process called hydrogenation, which involves bubbling hydrogen through the liquid oil. This makes it solid and very stable, giving products like crackers and cookies a very long shelf life. The byproduct of this partial hydrogenation process is a large amount of artificial trans fats. As I mentioned before, these are the absolute worst fats for your heart. They are a double whammy. They aggressively raise your lousy LDL cholesterol while simultaneously lowering your helpful HDL cholesterol. There is no safe level of artificial trans fat consumption. It is pure poison for your arteries. Common examples to watch for. The FDA has taken steps to ban artificial trans fats, but they can still linger in some products. You must become a label detective. Stick margarine. While tub margarines are now much better, old-fashioned stick margarine was a primary source of trans fats. Commercial baked goods, packaged cookies, cakes, pies, and crackers have historically used these oils for texture and shelf life. Coffee creamers. Many non-dairy liquid and powdered creamers use hydrogenated oils to create a creamy texture. Microwave popcorn. The buttery flavor in many brands comes from partially hydrogenated oils. A doctor's recommendation. This is non-negotiable. You must learn to read the ingredients list. Look for the words partially hydrogenated oil. Don't just trust the trans fat, 0G, on the front of the package. Due to a labeling loophole, if a serving contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fat, the company can legally list it as 0. But if you eat a few servings, it adds up. The only way to be sure is to scan the full ingredients list. If you see partially hydrogenated oil, put the product back on the shelf. Period. 6. The pitfall of full-fat dairy products. Milk and dairy products are an excellent source of calcium and vitamin D, which are crucial for bone health, especially as we age. However, the full-fat versions of these products are also loaded with saturated fat. Why they raise cholesterol? Just like red meat and butter, the fat found in dairy products from cows is a type of saturated fat that signals your liver to produce more LDL cholesterol. Enjoying full-fat milk, rich cheeses, and creamy ice cream on a regular basis can contribute significantly to your overall saturated fat intake and negatively affect your cholesterol profile. Common examples to watch for. Whole milk and 2% milk. Full-fat cheeses, cheddar, Swiss, provolone, brie, cream cheese. Ice cream. This is a double threat, often containing both high-fat cream and sugar. Full-fat yogurt and sour cream. A doctor's recommendation. This is an easy fix with plenty of delicious, readily available alternatives. You don't have to give up dairy, you just have to choose smarter versions. Switch your milk. Move from whole or 2% milk to 1% or skim, fat-free, milk. After a week or two, your palate will adjust, and you won't even notice the difference. Choose low-fat dairy. Opt for low-fat or fat-free versions of yogurt, cottage cheese, and sour cream. Greek yogurt is a fantastic, high-protein choice. Be smart about cheese. Cheese is often the biggest source of saturated fat in the American diet. Use strong-flavored cheeses like sharp cheddar or Parmesan, where a little bit goes a long way. Use it as a garnish, not the main event. Look for low-fat versions of your favorites, like mozzarella or provolone. Rethink dessert. Instead of a bowl of full-fat ice cream, try a bowl of fresh berries with a dollop of low-fat Greek yogurt, a fruit sorbet, or a nice cream made by blending frozen bananas. The Yes List, your toolkit for healthy swaps. I never want my patients to leave my office feeling deprived or focused only on what they can't have. The most important part of this journey is focusing on all the delicious, healthy foods you can and should be eating. Building a heart-healthy diet is about addition, not just subtraction. 1. Use heart-healthy oils for cooking. Get rid of the butter and lard for daily cooking. Your new best friends in the kitchen are plant-based oils that are rich in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. These fats actually help lower your LDL cholesterol. Extra virgin olive oil, the king of heart-healthy oils. Perfect for salad dressings and sautéing over medium heat. Avocado oil has a high smoke point, making it excellent for roasting and searing at higher temperatures. Canola oil, a versatile, neutral-flavored oil that's also good for general cooking. 2. Choose fresh, home-cooked meals. This is the most powerful change you can make. When you cook at home, you are the chef. You control every single ingredient. You decide how much salt, how much fat, and how much sugar goes into your food. It doesn't have to be complicated. Roast a big pan of vegetables, broccoli, carrots, bell peppers, zucchini, tossed in olive oil at the beginning of the week to have on hand. Bake or grill a few chicken breasts or salmon fillets to use in salads and sandwiches. Make a big pot of soup with beans, lentils, and vegetables. It's a comforting, healthy meal that you can enjoy for days. 3. Add foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are a special type of polyunsaturated fat that are true superheroes for your heart. They help lower triglycerides, another type of fat in your blood, reduce inflammation, and can even help raise your helpful HDL cholesterol. Fatty fish. Aim to eat fatty fish at least twice a week. The best sources are salmon, mackerel, herring, sardines, and tuna. Plant-based sources. If you're not a fish eater, you can get omega-3s from flax seeds, grind them up to add to oatmeal or smoothies, chia seeds, and walnuts. A final word from your doctor. We've covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at the foods that clog our arteries, the fried foods, processed meats, fatty red meats, butter, and full-fat dairy. We've unmasked the hidden dangers of trans fats and learned why home cooking is so powerful. I want you to leave this conversation not with a sense of fear, but with a sense of empowerment. Knowledge is power, and you now have the knowledge to make choices that will actively protect your heart. Making changes to a lifetime of eating habits is not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't expect you to throw out everything in your pantry tomorrow and never eat a piece of cheese again. That's not realistic. The goal is progress, not perfection. Start small. This week, try one swap. Instead of a beef burger, have a turkey burger. Instead of butter on your toast, try avocado. Instead of grabbing a bag of chips, pack a handful of almonds. Each small, positive choice is a victory. Each healthy meal is a deposit into your health bank account. Your heart has been working for you tirelessly every second of every day for your entire life. Now it's your turn to work for it. By making these mindful changes to what you eat, you are giving your heart the greatest gift you possibly can, the gift of a long and healthy future. Please, take this information and use it. Share it with your spouse, your friends, and your children. Start a conversation. The journey to a healthier heart is one best taken together.